Incontinence can really put a damper on your life. It can limit social activities, how much you can be active and do the things that you want to do. But oftentimes, Kegel exercises are the first thing recommended for women and strengthening the pelvic floor muscles. Well, today I'm going to talk through other tips of things that can help battle your incontinence and get it solved for good without doing Kegel exercises, because oftentimes that is not the right approach of what to do to help your bladder control problem. My name is Dr. Dawn Andalone. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist and women's health physical therapist. And having incontinence comes with a lot of shame. It comes with women thinking this is part of aging and just something that happens as you get older. But just know you are not alone. So many women, at least 50% of women at some point over the age of 50, are struggling with bladder control. But there are things, more holistic solutions of what you can do to help it without having a surgery or without taking a medication or without just living with it and buying diapers when you're into your 60s, 70s, 80s. So today, let's talk about other tips and other things that can help you. Now, incontinence could be stress incontinence or it could be urge incontinence. Stress incontinence is more when you are walking, sneezing, running, jumping, doing something that's putting a lot of force and pressure down on your pelvic floor area and you end up leaking. So your pelvic floor muscles are not sinking in the right way to really support your bladder. Urge incontinence is more when you get that strong urge and you can't quite make it to the bathroom in time. You end up almost having an accident or truly having an accident. And either way, stress incontinence or urge incontinence, oftentimes doctors are telling their patients, go do Kegel exercises, go just work on strengthening your pelvic floor muscles. Well, Kegel exercises are not for everyone. Yes, if your muscles are truly weak, that can be a good solution. But for many of the women that we see as pelvic floor physical therapists, there are women that just can't connect those muscles with their brain to be able to control them in the right way. And they may also have tight muscles down there, not necessarily weak muscles. So what do you need to do? Well, addressing the pelvic floor muscles and learning, like any other muscle group in your body, how to let them go and relax them, but also then how to contract them. So if you're just over contracting all the time, that might not necessarily work for you. So if you've been doing Kegel exercises for 2 or 3 months, you're not noticing a difference in your bladder symptoms, then it's best to check in with a guided professional like a pelvic floor physical therapist that can really assess you and teach you what you're doing wrong. I'm going to talk through 3 other tips of things you can try on your own that don't include Kegel exercises. And this way you can see if these other tips can also impact your life and make a positive change for helping your bladder control problem. So number 1 is diet and lifestyle changes. Diet, to do with what you're eating and drinking, can definitely impact at least any kind of drink or beverage with caffeine, with high sugar, with even mineral water or carbonation, citrus, or even some drinks that have artificial sweeteners. These can all be bladder stimulants. And bladder stimulants, if you're consuming any of those throughout the day and you notice that you're having the urges more often, or you're also having leaks when you want to go on a walk or you want to go on a run, but you're consuming any of those before your exercise and you're not being able to control your bladder, you might want to think of cutting those out, at least dialing them way back. I noticed this with a client recently that was drinking a lot of carbonated water and bubbly water, no calories, thinking she was doing something good, weaning herself off of more soda and other things that were having a lot of higher sugar content, but she couldn't control her bladder. She was having to go to the bathroom all the time, and she was getting those strong urges, and she couldn't quite make it to the bathroom, making her embarrassed and frustrated. So cutting those out, at least for the first 2 weeks while we worked on some exercises and control for those muscles, she was able to have the urges go way down and she was able to control her symptoms a lot better. So look for those in your diet as changing the stimulants and the things that are affecting your bladder urgency and frequency too, with high citrus, high sugar, having caffeine, or even fake sweeteners, and any of those with carbonation as well can definitely stimulate your bladder to be on high alert. Okay, Kegel exercises we did discuss, but going back to that, it's bigger than that. Let's look at all the other muscles around your midsection and around your pelvis that has to do with your bigger hip muscles, like your glute muscles and working your booty, and also working all those small muscles surrounding your hips and your core. So your core, the pelvic floor, is part of that. But if you're just working on Kegels and strengthening your pelvic floor, you're not addressing those deep abdominals, your lower back muscles, and your diaphragm at the top too. So considering your whole core system, if you are doing Pilates-based exercise, really a more therapeutic guided approach that incorporates breathing and alignment and posture, those things are going to give you a great result when it comes to helping your bladder control symptoms. You really are addressing how the whole system works, and not just down there by your pelvic floor muscles, but if you can control with your diaphragm, your breathing, and your abdominals and back muscles, that is going to support your pelvic area so much better as well. And we have seen this time and time again with women with prolapse or incontinence, or even any kind of constipation, or even after a hysterectomy surgery. When you're trying to recover that whole area, you want to focus on restorative and therapeutic exercises, more of a Pilates-based approach, not hardcore Pilates, but more restorative therapeutic Pilates. I have a great program for that. I'll link below. The Pilates for pelvic floor is amazing for really addressing all those muscles and how the pelvic floor muscles should work together to help symptoms of incontinence as well. So exercises that you can do that are addressing those muscles are exercises like, so we have exercises like a bridge exercise where you're lifting your hips, you're drawing in your pelvic muscles, your abdominals, and using your glute muscles and hamstrings, and you're working on breathing at the same time. So you're exhaling as you're lifting, inhaling as you're lowering. So that's a bridge exercise. You can also do a clamshell exercise where your knees are bent about 90 degrees. You're going to engage your pelvic muscles and your lower abdominals, tightening those in under your fingertips if you lay your hand right over your lower belly. And at the same time, you're going to exhale and lift that top knee like you're opening and closing like a clamshell. You're breathing and exhaling every time you lift that leg, and that's going to work those deeper hip muscles there. And so doing a set of 10 to 15 of those on each side. So that is just a quick reminder of a couple exercises that are very helpful for the hips and the core, that can also, when you're thinking about breathing and using your pelvic muscles with those exercises, that is what can be highly beneficial to help that whole area and supporting your bladder too. Then the last tip that I'm going to mention is biofeedback. Now, biofeedback, usually done with a pelvic floor physical therapist, is going to work on a simple device that you insert vaginally. You're told a lot of times just to do squeezes and Kegels, but in a biofeedback device, you will also understand when you see it on the monitor how your muscles can relax and let go as well, which is just as important as how much you can tighten and squeeze the muscles. A device like a PeriFit device, I'll link to that below. This is a biofeedback device that used alongside seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist can be a huge benefit to learning how you actually activate those muscles, and can you learn how to let them go. Sometimes your brain doesn't understand how to even connect to those muscles, so it's teaching you in a and a different type of teaching method, so you're seeing on there what your muscles are actually doing and getting your brain to kick in and say, oh, now I get it. Now I understand what it means to tighten or to let go of those muscles. Because so many times we see women that don't even know how to activate their pelvic floor muscles. They might think they're doing it right, or they might think that they're letting go and releasing, but they're actually holding them, clenching them tightly throughout the day as well. So working on hip stretching exercises and doing the exercises that I showed before for working on the whole core area and hips, and also using a biofeedback device like a PeriFit device. Those all can be beneficial methods of teaching your pelvic floor muscles what they need to do to help your bladder control. Now, there is way more covered in my pelvic floor Pilates program, but I wanted to give you a little intro and tips because I find that women that are told to do Kegel exercises are doing it or thinking they're doing it for months and their symptoms are not improving. These are other things that you can implement on your own and see if they're helpful too. So go back and watch some of my other incontinence videos. I want to help you solve this bladder problem once and for all and live a happy and healthy life as a woman going through perimenopause to menopause and beyond. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in another video soon.